I was in the middle of updating a client file when the email popped up. The subject line just said, "I'm sorry." I clicked it without thinking. Jenna had written 3 lines. "I'm leaving. I'm in love with someone else. I'm taking the boat." The boat, the $35,000 one I just bought in my name 2 weeks earlier. She didn't even sign it. I stared at the screen for a solid minute, not breathing. Then I picked up my phone and called her. She picked up like it was nothing. "Hey," she said, calm as ever. "I was going to tell you, but it's easier this way." "What the hell, Jenna?" I snapped. "You're just gone? Like that?" She didn't even flinch. "I'm in love. I want a fresh start. I'm not coming back." Then she hung up. Just like that. No arguing, no yelling, not even a damn reason. I sat there frozen, the office noise around me muffled like I was underwater. A couple coworkers glanced over, but I couldn't move. Couldn't even think straight. The woman I'd been with for 12 years just vanished. Took off with another man and my boat like it was a casual errand. That night, I drove straight home. Her car wasn't there. Neither were her shoes by the door. I opened the hall closet. Empty. Every drawer she'd claimed was cleaned out. Bathroom, nothing but my razor and a half-used shampoo bottle. Then I noticed the boat keys were gone. So were the divorce papers. The same ones we'd fought about 2 weeks earlier. I wanted full custody of Caleb, and she freaked, tore them up in front of me, called me controlling. Now, not a single sheet left. I went outside. My truck was still in the driveway. The boat trailer wasn't. She'd really done it, in broad daylight. Inside, the house was dead silent. I stood in the kitchen for I don't know how long, just gripping the counter. My hands shook. I'd never felt that kind of numbness before, like my whole body just shut off. Then I remembered Caleb. Our 10-year-old son was still at school, still expecting his mom to be there, still thinking everything was normal. I sat down, pulled out my phone, and stared at the screen until the clock hit 3:30. Then I got up, grabbed my keys, and went to pick him up, pretending like the world hadn't just collapsed. Caleb climbed into the truck like it was any other day, buckled his seatbelt, asked if we could stop for fries. I said sure. My voice sounded normal, even to me. I don't know how. Inside, I felt like a walking bruise. At home, I made dinner like always. Nothing fancy. Frozen lasagna, garlic bread. We ate at the kitchen table like we always did. I didn't even taste it. My chest was tight, and not in the emotional way. Physically tight, like a cinder block sat behind my ribs. Caleb poked at his food, then looked up at me, squinting a little. "Dad," he said, "are you sick or lying?" That caught me off guard. "What?" I tried to laugh it off. "What does that mean?" "You're acting weird," he said. "Your face looks pale, and your hands keep shaking. But you're also being fake, like you're hiding something." He wasn't even mad, just watching me, like I was some puzzle he'd already half solved. I pushed my plate away and rubbed my face. "I didn't want to tell you like this." He sat back in his chair, arms crossed. I sighed and looked him dead in the eyes. "Your mom left. She's not coming back." He blinked but didn't speak. "She took the boat," I went on, "and some other stuff. She's with someone else now." Still nothing. "She sent me an email at work. That's how I found out." Finally, he nodded once. I figured. That threw me. "You did?" "She's been weird for months. Keeps asking if I'd be okay staying with just you. Got rid of a bunch of stuff. Didn't hug me goodbye this morning either." He picked up a breadstick, took a bite, then added, "She didn't take the picture of us from my room. That's how I knew she didn't care." I swallowed hard. He was only 10, still had the little kid voice. But the way he said it, like he was older than me. I tried to keep it together, but something in my chest shifted, and not in the metaphorical sense. A real sharp jolt, like something twisted inside me. I stood up too fast and had to grip the table. Caleb looked up fast. "Are you okay?" "Yeah," I said, waving him off. "Just tired." But over the next week, things got worse. Headaches, no appetite, shortness of breath, even walking to the car. I chalked it up to stress, heartbreak, lack of sleep. I told myself I'd bounce back. Then came the training at work, some all-day safety certification thing in the conference room, cold coffee, stale bagels, and 10 hours of talking about equipment protocols. I remember sitting there, nodding along, when everything suddenly tilted. The lights dimmed, my arms went numb. I stood up to excuse myself, and the next second, I was on the floor. People shouting, someone calling 911, my boss kneeling over me, snapping his fingers in my face, then nothing. I came back to the world in pieces. A pulsing beep, rubbery pressure on my face, the taste of plastic in my mouth, like I'd been chewing a hospital glove. "Stay with us," a woman's voice said, loud and sharp. "Open your eyes." I tried. My eyelids felt glued shut. When I finally got them open, the ceiling light stabbed me. Everything smelled like disinfectant and stale air. An EMT leaned over me. "Sir, can you tell me your name?" I said it, but it came out rough and cracked. My throat burned. My chest felt squeezed, like a strap had been cinched too tight around my ribs. When they rolled me into the ER, I caught flashes, blue curtains, nurses moving fast, a doctor in a white coat barking orders like he'd done it 1,000 times. They stuck pads on me, drew blood, shoved an IV into my arm. I watched my own hand lying there, pale and shaking, and I hated how weak it looked. Hours later, I ended up in a room with a thin blanket and machines that wouldn't shut up. Tubes ran out of my arm. A wire trailed from my chest to a monitor that kept tattling on me with every beat. A doctor came in with a clipboard and tired eyes. He pulled the curtain closed and didn't waste time. "We ran your tests," he said. "This isn't just you passing out." I swallowed. "So what is it?" He pointed at the monitor like it was a report card I was failing. "Your heart's under strain. We see signs of a serious issue that can't wait. Stress can trigger it, make it worse, but it didn't come out of nowhere." Stress, I almost laughed. Yeah, no kidding. My wife set my life on fire and walked away smiling. "How serious?" I asked. He held my gaze. "Serious enough that you need surgery soon." The room went quiet except for the machines. I stared at the ceiling and tried to process it, but my brain kept stalling out like a junk car. Surgery soon, not take it easy, not get some rest. Soon. After he left, the anger hit first, hot and violent. Not at the doctor, not even at myself, at Jenna. Because of course she didn't just take off with a new guy and my boat. No, she had to rip the floor out from under me so hard my body finally quit. Then the anger drained and left this ugly, empty feeling behind. I turned my head toward the window. It was dark outside. I could see the faint reflection of my face in the glass. I looked older, washed out, like somebody had taken a sponge to me and wiped all the color away. My eyes burned. I told myself I wasn't going to cry. I'd already been chewed up enough. But the second I tried to swallow it down, my chest tightened and my eyes filled anyway. Tears slid into my ears. I felt stupid, pathetic. Grown man lying there with tubes in his arm, crying like the world's smallest violin was playing just for me. The door opened fast. "Dad?" Caleb's voice cut through everything. I turned my head, and there he was in the doorway, hair messy, backpack still on, like he'd run in without thinking. His face was pale, and his eyes were wide in a way I'd never seen before. He walked to the bed fast and grabbed the rail with both hands. "You're not going to die, right?" That hit me harder than the diagnosis. The fear in his voice wasn't curiosity or attitude. It was real. I wiped my face with the back of my hand, angry at myself for letting him see me like that. "Hey," I said, forcing my voice steady. "No, I'm not dying." He shook his head once, like he didn't trust it. "Promise." I leaned forward as much as the tubes would let me. "I won't let you," I told him. "You hear me? I'm not going anywhere." His grip loosened a little. He nodded, but he didn't let go of the bed. That night, after he finally went home with my sister, I stared at the ceiling again. The hospital smelled like bleach and sadness. My chest ached. My phone sat on the tray table, and it was silent. No Jenna, no apology, nothing. I clenched my jaw and made a decision I should have made the second she walked out. I hit the call button, waited for the nurse, and when she came in, I said, "Tell the doctor I'm doing the surgery. Schedule it." I got out of the hospital after 8 days. Full recovery took a month. The house looked the same, but it didn't feel the same. Everything was quieter. The fridge hummed louder. Even Caleb walked softer, like the walls might collapse if we weren't careful. On day 3 back home, I opened the mailbox and found a thick white envelope from the credit union. Final notice in bold red. I tore it open standing in the driveway. They wanted payment for the boat loan. 127 or due immediately. I blinked. That had to be a mistake. I had it on autopay. I was ahead. I walked inside, sat at the kitchen table, and logged into my account. Balance, $42.17. I refreshed it twice. Same number. My stomach dropped. I went through the statements. Page after page of transfers. Online withdrawals, Zelle, PayPal, debit card swipes in towns I didn't recognize, flights, camping gear, hotel stays. All while I was laid up in a hospital bed with wires in my chest. She took over 18 grand. Gone. I sat there for a long time, staring at the screen like it might fix itself. My palms were sweating. My heartbeat started doing that off-rhythm thing again. I called her, straight to voicemail. I called again. Same thing. I opened my messages. Nothing since the day she left. I texted her, "You emptied the account, I know." No response. Then I lost it. I swept everything off the table. Laptop, charger, the mail, my glass of water. It all crashed to the floor. The noise echoed across the house. I grabbed the chair and slammed it back under the table so hard one of the legs cracked. "Damn it!" I shouted. Then I felt a small hand on my arm. I turned. Caleb was standing in the hallway. No panic, no tears, just watching me. "How long have you been standing there?" I asked, breathing hard. "Since you read the letter," he said. "I figured something was wrong." I sat down, chest still heaving. "She drained it, Caleb. The whole thing. Almost $20,000. She stole it while I was in the hospital." He didn't even blink, just nodded once. I looked at him. "You're 10. Why are you not freaking out?" He shrugged a little. "Because it's fine." "No, it's not fine. She left us broke." "Yeah," he said, "but I've got a plan to get the boat back." I stared at him, waiting for a punchline. "You've what?" "I've been working on it," he said, calm, like we were talking about groceries. "Since the day you went in." I rubbed my eyes. "You're 10 years old." He shrugged again. "So what? You were busy almost dying." That hit me sideways. I let out a bitter laugh and wiped my face. "You're a weird kid, you know that?" "Mom thinks I'm clueless," he said. "She always talked around me. But I listen." I leaned back in the chair. "You really think we can get it back?" He nodded. "If you trust me." I watched him for a second. The way he stood there, straight-backed, serious. He looked like a soldier giving a briefing. "All right," I said. "I'm listening." Caleb disappeared into his room for 5 minutes, then came back with his old iPad and dropped it on the kitchen table in front of me. "Remember this app?" he said, tapping the screen. It was the GPS tracker we installed on Jenna's phone back when we used to do family hikes out near Lake Ouachita. "Find My Trail Buddy." Dumb name, but it worked offline and tracked location history in real time. I blinked. "You still have her connected?" "Yeah, she never deleted the app." He zoomed in. "She's been all over the place. Camping grounds, motels, couple nights in Little Rock. But she's still in state, never crossed out." I leaned in and watched the little red dot crawl across a road outside Mena. "She's constantly moving," I muttered. Caleb nodded. "She's living out of the boat, towing it with the forerunner." I rubbed my jaw. "What if she just runs again? If we show up, she'll vanish." He didn't even flinch. "Don't worry, I already left some traps." I blinked at him. "What does that mean?" He pulled up another screen, a list of usernames, accounts, half-redacted passwords. "I dug into her email," he said. "She used the same password for everything. I got into her Facebook, her Gmail, even her dumb Pinterest." I stared at him. "When did you do all this?" "While you were asleep in the hospital. You kept snoring, so I borrowed your laptop." I wanted to be mad, should have been, but all I could say was, "Okay, go on." "She's posting stuff in a couple boating forums," he continued, "trying to sell the trolling motor. She posted a campground review under a fake name, but used her work email." I let out a slow breath. "Jesus." "I also know the guy she's with," Caleb added casually. "What?" "His name's Travis. I reverse image searched a picture she posted with him at the lake. He's from Fort Smith, divorced, owns a roofing company." I blinked, hard. "Are you secretly 30 years old?" "No," he said, "but I watch you. I've seen how you fix stuff. I just learned it." I leaned forward, lowering my voice. "So what now?" We wait 3 days, he said. She'll call. She'll have to. I raised an eyebrow. Why? He smiled a little, like he'd been dying to say this part. Because I reported the motor stolen on Craigslist, and I flagged her license plate with park rangers for towing an unregistered boat through a restricted site. They're already tracking it. I blinked again, slower this time. You did all that? Yeah, he said. They'll pull her in, ask questions. She won't know who to blame, but she'll call you. I leaned back in the chair and stared at him for a long second. My son, 10 years old, setting digital traps like he was born doing it. I don't even know what to say, I muttered. Say you'll be ready when she calls, he said. I nodded once. I'll be ready. We sat there in silence, watching her dot move across the map. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like we weren't just reacting anymore. We were setting the game. 3 days later, right after lunch, my phone rang. Unknown number. I picked up. Are you out of your mind? Jenna's voice snapped through the line. She sounded panicked. Who is this? I said, playing dumb. Don't start. There are cops here. They're asking questions about the boat. You reported it stolen? Yeah, I said. It's in my name. You took it. She went quiet for half a second. You're seriously doing this? She hissed. You disappeared. You drained my account. What did you think was going to happen? I left, she said, like that made it better. This is harassment. No, I said calmly. This is legal ownership. She hung up. I looked over at Caleb sitting across from me. He was already grabbing his shoes. She called? He asked. Yep. Told you. We got in the truck and headed straight for the site. She'd posted up in a little campground north of Hot Springs, near Lake Hamilton. Real private. Tents, trailers, barely any signage. When we pulled in, I spotted the boat first. Parked beside her Forerunner, tarp half off, motor still attached. 2 officers stood nearby, arms crossed. Jenna was pacing in flip-flops, hair tied up, red-faced. She looked up and froze when she saw me step out. Caleb followed, calm as ever, hands in his hoodie pocket. Her new guy leaned against the SUV, arms crossed like he was posing for a magazine cover. Travis, I guessed. Looked like the type who hit on waitresses and complained about gas prices for fun. One of the officers approached me. You the registered owner? Yep, I said, handing over my license. This was reported stolen 3 days ago. He nodded, glanced over at Jenna, then back at me. We're just verifying details. She says she has permission. She doesn't, I said. We're legally separated. This boat was purchased in my name. She took it after abandoning our house and child. The other officer raised an eyebrow. You have paperwork? In the glove box, I said. Title's in there. They stepped away to check. Jenna stomped over. Are you really doing this here, with him? She pointed at Caleb like he was the problem. You called me, I reminded her. She lowered her voice fast. Can we talk? Alone? I stared at her, then nodded. Fine. She waved me toward the boat. We climbed in. Caleb followed, quiet. She shot him a look, but didn't argue. Inside, Travis was already sitting on one of the benches, arms spread out like he owned the place. So you're the ex? He asked with a smirk. I didn't answer. I turned to Jenna. Well? She crossed her arms. This is ridiculous. I just borrowed it. I wasn't stealing anything. You're not on the title. You took it without permission. That's theft. She looked away, jaw tight. I didn't think it had come to this. Travis let out a snort. Cops for a boat? Real mature, man. I ignored him. Jenna was fidgeting now, fingers tapping her elbow. She wouldn't look at me. Then Caleb stepped up beside her, voice steady. Why'd you leave us? He asked. Everything stopped. Travis's smirk faltered. Jenna's mouth opened, then shut again. She looked like she got punched in the stomach. She swallowed hard, eyes darting between us. Because I needed something different, she said. He treats me better. Travis lifted his chin a little, like that was a win. But Caleb didn't flinch. Instead, he said, You're 3 months pregnant, but you left 3 months ago. The air in that boat turned thick, like somebody shut off the oxygen. Jenna's eyes snapped to Caleb, then to me, then to Travis. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. For the first time since this nightmare started, she didn't have some smooth line ready. Travis let out a short laugh, like he was trying to keep control of the room. What are you talking about, kid? Caleb didn't even look at him. He kept his eyes on Jenna. You're 3 months pregnant. I saw the paperwork in your email. But you left 3 months ago. That doesn't add up. My stomach clenched. I hadn't known that part. Caleb had. Jenna's voice came out thin. You were in my email? Caleb shrugged, still steady. You used the same password you use on everything. Jenna sucked in a breath and finally turned her anger toward me, like I'd somehow done it. So, this is what you're doing now? You're having him spy on me? I leaned forward, not loud, just sharp. Don't you dare! You abandoned him. You stole from us. You don't get to act violated. She flinched like I slapped her. Then she recovered fast and lifted her chin. I didn't steal, I just borrowed the boat. I stared at her. No, we're legally strangers right now. You left. You took property in my name. That's theft. Her mouth tightened. She glanced toward the dock where the officers stood, then back to me. You're really going to ruin my life over a boat? I laughed once, mean. You already tried to ruin mine. The boat's just the paper trail. Travis shifted on the bench, his smug look fading into annoyance. Man, you need to chill. She said she borrowed it. She was married to you. She's not married to me, I shot back. And even if she was, that title's mine. Loan's mine, the debt's mine. She doesn't get to tow it around like a souvenir. Jenna's hands started fidgeting at her sides. I was going to make payments. With what money? I snapped. The money you drained out of our account while I was in a hospital bed? Her cheeks went red. You're being dramatic. Caleb stepped closer, voice low but clear. Just answer the question. Jenna swallowed. What question? Why did you leave us? Caleb asked again, slower this time, like he was talking to somebody who kept pretending they couldn't hear. Something in Jenna cracked for half a second. Her eyes went shiny, but she blinked it back hard. Because I was miserable, she said. Because I felt stuck. Because Travis actually listens to me. Travis perked up at that, trying to reclaim his swagger. That's right. She deserves better than... Caleb cut him off without even raising his voice. You weren't miserable with me. Jenna's gaze flicked to him, and her face tightened like she'd bitten something sour. You don't understand adult stuff. I understand you left, Caleb said, and you didn't even take my picture off the wall. That landed. I saw it in Jenna's face. Not guilt exactly, more like irritation that he remembered the details. Travis leaned forward, eyes narrowing now. Hold on. Pregnant? He said, looking at Jenna like he'd misheard. What is he talking about? Jenna's head snapped toward him. Not now. No, right now, Travis said, louder. Are you pregnant? Jenna's jaw worked. She looked cornered, and she hated it. Caleb stayed on her, voice steady. You said you were starting a new life. Fine. But you can't lie about time. 3 months is 3 months. I felt my hands curl into fists. Not because of Travis, because of Jenna. Because she'd turned my kid into the adult in the room. Jenna's eyes darted around the boat like she was searching for an exit that wasn't there. It's not like that, she muttered. Travis stood up, the bench creaking. Then what is it like? Is it mine or not? Jenna didn't answer him. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the boat keys. Her hand shook as she held them up between us, like a peace offering. There, she said, voice bitter. Take them. Take the stupid boat. I didn't grab them right away. I looked at her hand, then her face. You're giving them back because you want to, I said, or because there are cops outside. Her eyes flashed. Because I'm done talking to you. I took the keys and closed my fist around them. The metal bit into my palm and it felt good. Real, solid, mine. Caleb didn't smile. He just watched her, like he was filing her away in his head. Outside, I heard a knock on the hull and an officer's voice. Sir, we're going to need you to step out. We have a few more questions. I pocketed the keys, looked Jenna dead in the eyes, and climbed out of the boat. As I stepped off the boat and hit solid ground, I heard Travis's voice spike behind me. Hold up. What do you mean, 3 months pregnant? I turned just enough to see him staring down at Jenna like he'd been slapped. She stood frozen by the bench, keys no longer in her hand, her mouth tight. You told me it was mine, he snapped. She didn't answer, just stared at the floor like it might open up and swallow her. Travis stepped closer. You said it happened after we met. That's what you said. Still nothing. You left 3 months ago. he said louder. We didn't sleep together until what? 4 weeks later? The math hit him hard. You lied, he said, voice cracking now. You lied to my face. She finally snapped. It's not your business anymore. The hell it's not, he shot back. I sold my truck for you. Now Jenna looked up, full of rage. I never asked you to. You didn't have to, he shouted. You strung me along, said we were starting a family, said I was better than him. I stepped away from the boat a little, giving them space. Mostly so Caleb didn't have to hear it all, but he stood close by, arms crossed, stone-faced, watching her fall apart without blinking. Travis was pacing now, hands in his hair. Unbelievable. You told me we were solid. You said you wanted out of the drama. Jenna barked a laugh. And look where you brought me, right back into it. He spun on her. Don't put this on me. You lied about everything. She stepped toward him, finger in his face. You think you're some hero? You live in a damn camper and sell roofing jobs off Craigslist. Oh, screw you, he roared. They were full-on screaming now, right there on the dock, just yards from the cops. People at other campsites started watching. A woman in a sun hat across the way grabbed her kid's hand and turned him around. Then I saw a red Chevy pull in fast near the entrance. I didn't recognize it at first, until the doors flung open and her parents climbed out. Her dad, Jim, looked like he hadn't slept in 2 days. Her mom, Barbara, marched right toward the dock, eyes blazing. I turned to Caleb. Did you? He nodded. Used her work address. Found it in her email. Jenna hadn't noticed them yet. She was still yelling at Travis, arms waving. Then Barbara's voice cut through everything. What the hell is going on, Jenna? Jenna's whole body jerked like someone fired a gun. She turned slowly. Mom? Jim stepped up beside his wife. We got a message saying you were pregnant, homeless, and stealing from your son. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Barbara pointed at her. Is it true? Jenna looked around like she was searching for a lifeboat, but there was nowhere left to swim. I didn't steal, she mumbled. You took $18,000 from Caleb's father, Barbara snapped. And you're dragging a child through God knows what with this clown. She pointed at Travis, who looked like he wanted to melt into the boat cushions. Jenna's voice got small. You don't understand. We understand perfectly, Jim said. You're not our daughter anymore. Silence. Real silence. Not even birds. Not even wind. Jenna just stood there, mouth trembling, arms at her sides like she didn't know what to do with them. Then she spun and tried to walk off the dock like it would just go away, but the cops were already back. Ma'am, one of them said, stepping in front of her. We're not done here. She looked stunned. I gave him the keys. It's over. Doesn't work like that, the officer said. We've reviewed the statement, confirmed the financial theft, and you're not authorized on the property. Step back, please. Jenna looked around again. No Travis, no parents, no escape. I stepped forward, calm now. I want to press full charges. The officer nodded. She turned to me, desperate. Please, don't do this. You already did, I said. She didn't cry, didn't yell, just sat down on the edge of the boat and stared at the ground like the weight finally caught up to her. And that's where we left her, surrounded by cops, 2 lives walking away from her, and the wreckage of her own making sinking in around her. They cuffed her right there on the dock. Travis didn't stick around. As soon as the cops turned their backs, he slipped off to his truck, peeled out, and never looked back. Jenna screamed his name once, then twice. Nothing. Just tires in the gravel and exhaust in the air. When the cruiser doors slammed shut behind her, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel bad either. I just felt finished. A week later, I sat across from her in a beige conference room at the courthouse. No makeup, wrinkled hoodie, hair pulled back like she hadn't slept since that day. She didn't look at me. Her lawyer tried to push a deal, no jail time, restitution instead. I let mine handle the legal talk, but when it came time for the money, I spoke up. You owe me, I said. Not just for the boat, not just for the account, for everything. She finally looked at me then, eyes swollen, cheeks red. I didn't mean for it to go this far. You meant to leave, I said. You meant to take the money. You meant to disappear. She opened her mouth like she might fight it, then closed it. I leaned forward. Here's what I want. $20,000 in damages and $500 a month in child support. You sign it, or I let this drag through court until you lose everything. She wiped her nose with her sleeve. I can't afford that. Figure it out. She looked at her lawyer, who whispered something. She nodded, barely. Fine. We signed the paperwork that day. I made sure every detail stuck. She'd pay monthly, starting in 60 days. Then came the job. I worked maintenance at a regional warehouse, third-party logistics, contracts, shipping. Not glamorous, but decent pay. I knew the subcontractor who handled janitorial staffing. I made one call. When she got out on probation, I handed her a flyer. They need night shift help, bathrooms, floors, trash runs. You want to work? Start there. She stared at the paper like I handed her a grenade. You're really doing this? She asked. I nodded. You pay what you owe, starting now. Her pride didn't last long. She took the job. The boat? I sold it. Got just enough to clear the loan and dump the rest into Caleb's savings. I didn't need the reminder sitting in my driveway. 3 weeks later, I saw Jenna wiping down vending machines in the break room during my lunch. She kept her head down. Nobody knew who she was. I didn't tell them. She cried once, came up to me in the parking lot, begged me to lower the monthly payment, said she couldn't breathe under the weight of it. I told her, now you know how I felt in that hospital bed. She never asked again. Travis, he vanished, blocked her on everything. Her parents never returned her calls. She lived in a studio off a frontage road. No friends, no car, just a mountain of bad choices and a mop bucket. I didn't feel bad, not anymore. She made her life what it was. I didn't push her there. She jumped. It's been 4 months. Life's quiet now. No cops, no paperwork, no screaming matches on docks, just dishes in the sink, laundry piles, and Caleb asking what's for dinner, like clockwork. I'm back at work full time, health solid. No more chest tightness, no more dizziness. I take my meds, drink less coffee, and sleep more. Still wake up at 5, but at least now it's not from panic. Caleb's the one who really changed. He makes his own breakfast now. Scrambled eggs, toast, even cleans the pan after. He keeps track of the trash schedule better than I do. Last week he asked if I wanted him to set reminders for my credit card due dates. Just in case Mom tries anything again, he said, dead serious. He's 10, but some days he feels 40. He keeps asking about child support too. Wants to know how it's calculated, where the money goes. If we can track Jenna's payments, just to make sure she's not late. I showed him the spreadsheet I keep. He asked if he could add a second tab for savings. Kid, I told him, you realize you're in 5th grade, right? He shrugged. Yeah, but if I don't stay on top of this, who will? I didn't have an answer. Jenna's been paying, bit by bit. 200 here, 150 there. Nothing's ever on time, but it adds up. I track every cent. No more slip-ups, no more blind spots. She hasn't looked me in the eye since that day in the parking lot. She works, cleans, goes home, no drama, no phone calls, and I keep it that way. Sometimes, usually late at night, I still catch myself thinking about how far she fell, how low she was willing to go just to escape a life that wasn't even broken, and how close I came to losing everything because of her. But I don't dwell on it. Can't. Because every night I see Caleb sitting at the kitchen table doing his homework, shoulders hunched, pencil tapping, lips moving as he reads to himself. And I remember who I'm doing this for. He didn't ask for any of this. He didn't fall apart when things got bad. He stepped up. He held it down. Hell, he ran point. We made it through. And I won't let either of us fall again. Not now, not ever.